For graphic design, corporate identity and branding, Sandy Belford from Principles.
Yep.
The project that you've worked on, Sandy, is Everlight Radiology. So can I have some background to start?
Sure. Everlight Radiology is a classic example of a disruptive brand. You know, I don't know if you think about how you get your x-rays done. Traditionally, people do x-rays. The hospitals manage them in their time outside working hours. And of course, what that means is that people are often doing them when they're stressed, they're tired, and they're concerned about the quality of them. So what Everlight has done is it's created a new business model to call it Following the Sun. So it works principally between remote areas in Australia and also between the UK and Australia, where they have Australian doctors in London and British doctors in Australia who actually undertake this work overnight. So they came to us. They had an inappropriate name. They were called Imaging Partners Online. And they said, we actually don't do imaging. We are not an imaging business at all. We actually analyze. We do the intellectual component of it. So they had a problem with their name. And they were, I reckon, this sector is a bit like what telecommunications was in the 90s, when everybody was talking products and technology, and they were talking details, and they weren't talking about benefits at all. So if you looked at all of their competitors, they were all talking, you know, iMed, XMed, this sort of thing. And so they said, there's a classic positioning job, and it was a question of, one, giving them a proposition that would make them stand out. So,
okay. So what then did you do to make them stand out? And also beyond that, how willing were they to be led by you?
Oh, well, first of all, I mean, one, they were very frustrated that they had an awkward name that was misleading, so they were very keen to stand out. And their UK counterpart was even more awkward, because they had a name which was, I can't even pronounce it, RRO, Radiology Reporting Online. So one, they were very keen to change it, and secondly, they desperately wanted to stand out. So they were a fantastic client in that respect, in that everything was about, how do we change this and what do we do?
Okay, so can you talk me through then some of the applications that you had to do as part of the corporate identity?
Just let me take one step back. I mean, the first thing, I mean, I should explain, I'm not a designer, I'm the strategist who does the brief
Yes.
for the designers. So one of the things we had to do was understand the audience and understand the needs. So we had to talk to the hospitals, the hospital managers, we had to talk to people who were likely to be, who worked for them, and put people internally. So to understand what this proposition was and then deliver it. And then the most obvious thing was their website. So I mean, that's where they now increasingly do business, is transacted online. There was all of their collateral that we had to do, all of the events that they run, but also, increasingly now, what we're doing is we're working with them on the communication strategy behind it. So how do you actually think about all of these audiences, get the key messages right?
So how has it had impact commercially for them?
Well, it's very early days. I mean, this project's been in the market now for less than 6 months. And branding, you know, I'm always hugely envious when I hear people talking about retail, about how you can measure things. Because in product branding, everybody measures it day in, day out. Advertising, they measure it. It's harder to measure corporate branding. So I would say in a year's time, we will probably know, because we'll be measuring awareness of name and recognition, etc. I think the first thing that you would have to say is what it has done internally within the business. Is that, I mean, when you talk to people, there was just a distinctive lack of confidence in the business and in the brand. And now they've got a very strong proposition. They have a brand idea that they all rally around, Everyday Critical, and they're proud of the business that they work for. So that would have to be the first measure.
Principles obviously is a very important agency. There are a few that kind of are akin, I suppose, another one being Pentagram. But can you talk me through what it is that is unique about Principles as an agency?
Well, Principles this is our 20th year, actually. We're celebrating our 20th birthday quite soon. And it was established by 4 people. Originally started as an ad agency by 4 individuals, very experienced. And the idea was, classic sort of thing, the principles of the agency will actually work on your account. And that's pretty much still the same thing. So we're now 6 partners instead of 4, and there's only one of the founding partners is still with us, but there are 6 of us now. But of course, we're all a lot older now. So we've now got a new level of management coming in. So I think it's that. I think that, you know, people know that when they're dealing with a group of people who have worked together for a very long time, we know each other very well, but also we have got a fantastic new team of younger people who are sort of bringing in the new energy and the new things. But I guess that's what I would like to think that we give people. And, you know, we've been doing it for an awful long time. A bit like Mark was saying, you know, we've been around the blocks, but we still love it, you know. Thank God.
We've talked about how you work with clients, but what is it, other than bringing in new people and new management over time, but what is it that you do within principles to remain fresh, I suppose, to be able to change when you need to?
Well, we're a very strategic-led agency. You know, we have quite a sizable group of strategists and consultants and internal branding people. We have, you know, so we build on that. You know, we are a design-led agency, but we are, you know, we're as well known for our strategy as we are for our design. And I think we're just constantly looking for new partners and people to partner with to sort of bring in. So we partner with ad agencies, we partner with all sorts of people if we think that it's going to give a new perspective on a particular issue or a client.